Welcome to the Great Basin Seasonal Outlook for January through April. Over the last 30 days, we've seen cooler than normal temperatures across most of the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin, along with well above normal precipitation across much of Nevada into Utah, and even at least near normal or above normal into parts of Idaho into Wyoming. Some of the drier spots have been southern Nevada, also parts of far southern Idaho into northeast Nevada and northwest Utah, but for the most part we are seeing above normal precipitation due to several winter storms that have moved through the Great Basin over the last month, bringing good amounts of snowfall. Our percent of average precipitation since the beginning of the water year on October 1st again shows that above normal trend if we average back all the way back to October as well in many areas. Our snowpack is well above normal and continues to rise as storms move through the Great Basin, especially across Nevada and Utah, but also up into Idaho. We've seen at least near normal or just above normal snowpack as well. So certainly a very good water year so far and a very good snowpack so far for the Great Basin. As you would expect with this moisture moving through, our fuel moistures are going to be very high, especially over the northern half of the Great Basin. Still low for 10-hour fuel moistures over parts of southern Nevada and parts of the Arizona Strip that have been dry. 100-hour fuel moistures are showing that very similar trend, and 1,000-hour fuel moistures as well. So no issues with respect to fuel conditions across the Great Basin. When we look at soil moisture, our soil moisture is at least near or above normal across the Great Basin, and our percentiles are quite high over parts of eastern Idaho and Utah, and also into parts of California and the Sierra, where we've had most of the snowfall recently. We also have had quite a bit of snowfall into western Nevada as we entered the new year. The drought monitor and drought outlook are certainly more favorable than they have been. We are seeing the drought continue to diminish. We still have quite a bit of drought across the region, but certainly this area of extreme or exceptional drought that is currently across southern Nevada and over into Utah and even parts of northwest Nevada has shrunk over the last month and will likely continue to see those areas decrease. Otherwise, we still have severe to moderate drought across the Great Basin. However, looking at the drought outlook on the right, through March, we are expecting the drought to remain still, but it continue to improve. So looking ahead, looking at La Nina and El Nino, currently we are still in a state of weak La Nina, the cooler temperatures, but as you can see from the line curves from the various models, we will continue to see warming of sea surface temperatures and likely push us into that neutral category going into the fire season, and we could even see a return of El Nino later in the fire season into the fall, but models are really split on that, but will at least be in the neutral category and out of La Nina. So what La Nina has been doing for us, this is a typical weather pattern for the winter for La Nina, where we see these colder systems drop through the Pacific Northwest into the Midwest, and definitely clips the northern half of the Great Basin, giving us wetter conditions in the north and drier conditions in the south. And that is obviously what we have been seeing for our area, and also even further east into the plains and the Midwest, that colder, wetter signature is there as well, with some of the warmer, drier conditions in the south. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook from January 10th through the 16th, we are showing some warmer temperatures, but very wet conditions still continue going through January, so we'll likely see mixtures of rain and snow. Certainly the snow will be up high, so our snowpack should continue to improve going through the middle of January. And looking at the 4-month outlook, in January, kind of showing that warmer signature over at least the southern half of the region, with still wetter conditions over the northern half of the region. That pattern really doesn't change through February and March, still staying with the cooler, wet signature up north and the drier, warmer signature down south. As we head towards April, we might start to see that relax a little bit, but in the meantime, certainly no really big concerns with any type of a fire season, as we'll continue to see storms move through the Great Basin, especially across the northern half of the area. The one thing we will be watching, especially as we approach April and May, with these wetter conditions and the snowpack, we will likely see much higher soil moistures. We are expecting a lot more fine fuel growth, and that certainly will be a player going into the fire season. But we will see how the pattern plays out here over the next several months. That will tell us at least where the mountain areas fall, how long that snowpack takes to actually melt, and when the mountain areas come into play. But right now, we're certainly watching for that more significant grass growth that would increase our fire season in the lower elevations of Nevada and Utah and into Idaho. So putting everything together, over the next few months going through April, don't expect any impacts to fire potential. Everything should remain low, which would be normal for the time of year. But again, as we get into April, May, June especially, that's when we'll be watching as conditions warm and we start to lose our snowpack and we start to see the fine fuels grow. That will really tell us where our bigger fire seasons will be, but we'll certainly be watching Nevada, Utah into southern Idaho. That concludes our webcast for this month. Check back next month for our next seasonal outlook.